All right, folks. Well, I said we'd save some time at the end of the show for your live Twitter questions, and we're going to do that right now. You still got some time to get in some questions. Follow us on Twitter at Collider Video. Fire them in. Suck up to Mark because he is the gatekeeper today. So, Mark, what in all of your wisdom have you decided to pick out of the Twitter sphere today?
Well, thank you, John. We got some good ones today. First off is we talked about the new trailer for The Nice Guys. So Alexander Burton writes, what is the best Russell Crowe movie/performance?
Oh, gosh. There are two movies of his that a lot of people don't talk very much about. The one is the one he did with Al Pacino. I think it was called The Insider, where this guy who we didn't hear a lot about Russell Crowe up until this point. This dude came out of nowhere and acted circles around Al Pacino. Who does that? And that's when he kind of made his claim. The other one that nobody's ever really seen, you've heard me mention a couple times, is called Mystery Alaska. It's about this tiny little community living up in Alaska that loves playing hockey. And it's awesome. Mike Myers does an incredible cameo in that. My favorite movie of his, though, I think overall, stereotypical, is Gladiator. I think it's my favorite movie, he says. But his best performance, personally, I think he got robbed of an Academy Award, at least a nomination, because everybody was sick of his. This is right in the middle of when Russell Crowe was doing and saying a lot of stupid things. Throwing phones and putting out country albums, whatever it was he was doing. But I think it's Cinderella Man. His performance in Cinderella Man is staggering. It's so good. And really, the movie itself is staggering. It's so good. And it never got the credit it was due. So my favorite performance, I'll say, is Russell Crowe in Cinderella Man. My favorite film of his, stereotypical, is going to be Gladiator. What about you, Mark?
I'm going to go with A Beautiful Mind. I think is my favorite performance of his. I love Gladiator. I think he could have won for that, or A Beautiful Mind. I also like The Insider is another one that not a lot of people talk about. I've never seen Mystery Alaska. Sounds great. Another one that it's just a movie that I just can't stop watching whenever it's on cable, is American Gangster. It's not a great film in my opinion, but Russell Crowe and Denzel Washington are so good in the movie, it just keeps me engaged.
I think my favorite Russell Crowe film of all time for me is L.A. Confidential.
I knew you were going to say L.A. Confidential.
Just because I'm a big noir fan, and he played that role to the T. He was perfect in that. Also, Guy Pearce, great buddy cop film. Fantastic film. You haven't seen L.A. Confidential, like you mentioned, Nice Guys. It's the team up with Russell Crowe and Kim Basinger. So Kim Basinger's also in it. She won an Oscar for it. So for L.A. Confidential.
That's right, she did.
So that's my favorite Russell Crowe film.
I remember her thanking on the stage and Alec Baldwin before they hated each other in the front row crying. For his
So I give Russell Crowe props for a lot of the challenges. He's challenged himself. Like, I still think he was a little ridiculous in Les Mis, where every time he was singing, "I'm in a theater performance," like I felt like he wasn't in the rest of the movie.
I loved him in Les Mis.
But I give him props for it, but it was fun. Like, I always felt like he's in like an opera or something, like where he was like lock up when he was singing.
24601.
But he was really he sang really well. So I'm a fan of Russell Crowe, but L.A. Confidential is my favorite.
After seeing Pierce Brosnan and Mamma Mia, anybody sounds good singing on screen. So he sounded like David Bowie had a stroke. That was not a good performance.
All right, what's next?
Tony Lorenzo writes, "Hey, Mark, go Redskins. Thanks. Favorite actors turn director. Speaking of Russell Crowe, also, how hard do you guys think it is to make the transition from actor to director?"
Well, look, there are two totally different forms of art. Right. Some people can do both, but just because you are a great actor does not mean you'll do any. Just because you're a great football player does not mean you'll be a good coach. They're two totally different skill sets, and that's why I think you see very, 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 very few actors who successfully, with efficiency, make that transition. Jon Favreau is one that has done it pretty well. Obviously, Clint Eastwood is maybe the standard bearer for actors turned directors. He's got a lot of hardware on his shelf to back that up. He's got a new movie coming out this year called Sully, about the plane captain who landed the plane in the New York.
Right.
Not the river, it's the
on the Hudson River.
The Hudson River, yeah.
I think it's called Miracle on the Hudson. Maybe that was the book.
I think it's the book, and then it's going to be just called Sully after Captain Sully.
Right.
Looking forward to that. But obviously the hottest one right now is Ben Affleck. I mean, every movie he's put in is a 9 or a 10. Like from Gone Baby Gone. What was the one about the Boston crime story?
The Town.
The Town, which is a
fantastic movie.
Of course, his movie Argo won Best Picture at the Academy Awards. I mean, he is just crushing it right now. So those are the names that stand out to me the most. What about you, Mark?
I'm going Ron Howard, because he was Opie. He was
Great
Opie.
pick.
And now
Great
Opie
pick.
is making a whale movie called In the Heart of the Sea. And Ron Howard has done so many. He's so diverse in the movies that he's made. Him and George Lucas teamed up to make something like Willow. Then he can also do something like Rush or like Apollo 13, which is one of my all-time favorites. So I'd probably say Ron Howard might even be my favorite of all time.
Yep, my favorite Ron Howard film, still Backdraft.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I love Backdraft.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I'd have to say Willow. I was going to say Ron Howard, but Mark stole it from me, so I'll go with Robert Redford. There's another actor,
he's done it really
director,
well.
who's done a lot of amazing roles as an actor first, and then kind of transitioned. Let's talk about. I'll rock out a couple old ones for you guys who don't know who I'm talking about. Orson Welles is someone you could check out. Woody Allen, and even Warren Beatty. All those guys have all made the transitions from actors or performer, writer, actors, and then directors. Back and forth. So
there are a couple people in the live chat board are mentioning a really good one, Mel Gibson.
Definitely. Apocalypto is one of. I watch that once a year. That is such an incredibly amazing film made by a somewhat strange real life guy, but what an incredible writer, director, actor that guy is. He's not in Apocalypto, but that is one of my favorite films to watch once a year because it's such a crazy adventure.
You know what it reminds me a lot? It reminds me a lot of Apocalypse Now because when you really find out the lengths they went to make that film and how hard it was
behind
to
the scenes part.
Oh my God, just to make that film is crazy. All right, what's next?
Sanchian writes, if animated movies are considered for the best picture category, shouldn't it also be in other categories like screenplay, etc.?
They are. I mean, movies like WALL-E, Toy Story 3, all of them, they have been nominated for Best Screenplay at that. So yes, animated films are eligible for those other types of awards like screenplay, director, all that kind of stuff. They are eligible. Do you guys know anything different?
No, if a screenplay is a screenplay, they shouldn't differentiate. I don't think.
All right, what's next?
All right, Samuel Wentz writes one that I can't wait to see Schnapp's answer. What is your favorite film by John Carpenter?
Ooh. Man, you know what? It just has to be, there's so many different ones, but it has to be They Live. I know it's like Escape from New York.
Nicely done.
Escape from New York and They Live are right there, but honestly, for me, They Live, I just love that film. I love the premise of it. I love everything about it. So
I got to go with The Thing. What he did with that source material. Kurt Russell in his absolute prime. It's a scary movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's engaging to watch. It's got replay value. I would say 1982's The Thing.
And it's a remake.
That's right.
It is a remake. I was initially going to say They Live, and then you took that from me. So I will go Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, yeah.
Just thoroughly enjoyable. It holds up. I mean, the effects do not, but the movie itself holds up so well. So I'm going to go with Big Trouble in Little China.
But all the films that we mentioned are really like so skimming at the top. There's really, if you just watch any of John Carpenter's original works like Halloween, The Thing, Escape from New York, They Live, Big Trouble, all of those are great. I mean, some of the later ones he did, not so great, but like he just had such an amazing
run. You didn't like Escape from LA?
I did not like Escape from LA. No, I did not. Didn't even want to mention it. I can't believe you brought it up to bum me out.
All right, what's next?
Screen Freak asks us, would you ever like to see Ewan McGregor play Obi-Wan Kenobi again?
Well, I mean, we talk about that all the time, both on this show on Jedi Council. Yeah. I mean, I don't want an Obi-Wan anthology film. I don't want it. But if they do it, I'm going to be there, and I want it to be Ewan McGregor. Because, I mean, he is one of the very few shining pieces. I mean, God, even Ewan McGregor, who is so talented, looks so bad in some stuff in the prequels because he was given no direction whatsoever. But I would be very curious to see Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan again. Once again, the story is the ultimate thing. You make characters serve the story. You don't make up story just to serve characters. But if they come up with a great story they want to tell and it involves an older Obi-Wan, I mean, younger from the original Star Wars, obviously, and then Ewan McGregor's your guy. What do you guys think?
Yeah, it'd be cool to see like, just Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's like 2 hours him like kicking it on Tatooine, just like, sweeping, just doing like a bunch of really like modern tasks for 2 hours, boring tasks, and that's it.
Picking up girls at the Mos Eisley Mall.
Just doing death sticks with some stripper from Jabba's Palace. I would love to see it. I think that, I don't know, for some reason I feel like you might see Ewan McGregor back on screen as Obi-Wan Kenobi sooner than you think, and it's not going to take an Obi-Wan Kenobi standalone movie to achieve that. Obi-Wan loves Force ghosting. He lives for it. He did it in Empire. You don't even have to be on screen. He talked to Luke sometimes, and then he shows up in Return of the Jedi again, both in the middle and at the end. It's possible he could be a Force ghost in the new trilogy, maybe even in a couple weeks when we all see the movie. I'm not ruling that out.
All right. We're going to play a little game over-under. Here we go. Over-under. The number is 40%. The number is 40%. Over or under 40%. The chances we see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Next year's Rogue One. Mark, over under 40% that we will see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan in Rogue One.
Under.
Under 40%.
Way under.
Schnepp.
Yep. I'd say 0%.
Under. I'm going to go over. I think it would be very small, short, whatever. I'm going to go over on that one. All right, let's take 2 more questions.
Okay, well, I've been seeing this a ton, and I don't know if there has been any official news, so I want to ask your guys' take on it. Is there a Willow sequel or reboot coming? Has anybody heard any updates on that?
No,
I have not off the top of my head.
I've heard them mentioning it multiple times. Hey, that would be a great world to revisit. I would like to see them revisit it.
Now, when I do a quick Google search right now, you can't actually see the results. When I do a quick Google search, when I look for Willow sequel or reboot, the #1 result on Google is a little video by a group called AMC Movie News. In 2013, we did a story about there was some word about it, but I haven't heard anything about it in 2.5 years. So it's the best of my knowledge, no, unless something new has happened.
No, but they did make a joke. Warwick Davis had a show on HBO. I can't remember the name of it, but there was a cameo by Val Kilmer in there, and Warwick Davis was trying to get the crew from the original Willow back together, and Val Kilmer and him have a hilarious exchange about making Willow 2. Maybe that's where all this is coming from, but it'd be great to see Willow 2. I'd totally be up for that.
Is it called Life's Too Short?
Life's Too Short is exactly what it's called, yeah.
All right, last question of the day.
And our last question, it's a good one, it's an easy one, it's a fun one. What is the best superhero movie of all time?
Oh, I mean, let's face it. You ask 100 people, 98 of them, I think, maybe 97 of them, will either say the first Avengers film or the second Christopher Nolan Batman, The Dark Knight. I think it's safe to say like probably 97 out of 100 will say one of those two.
Yep.
I lean towards, they're both magnificent films, true credits to the genre of superhero films and how far superheroes come. They are the standard bearers for superhero films. Yeah. I personally lean towards the first Avengers film for me, so I'm going to go with that.
I would lean towards either the Avengers or the Dark Knight. If the Dark Knight's predecessor had never come out, Batman Begins is my favorite superhero movie of all time.
One of the 3 out of 97.
Because, you know why? Because I love seeing an origin story, and I don't think Batman's origin has ever been better told than what Christopher Nolan brought to the table. And by the way, one of my top 5 is the original, not the original, but the 1989 Batman with Michael Keaton. Love that movie to death, but Batman Begins is just so powerful and endlessly rewatchable.
Yeah, I'm going to cheat because, like you said, what's the best superhero film? Standalone superhero film, Dark Knight. Team film, The Avengers. That's that way I could scrimp in and get both of those flavors into one answer, son. Look at what I just did. Yeah, those two are my favorite superhero films so far. Definitely Batman. Because we've been very lucky to get so many great superhero films, adaptations of these comic books that we grew up with. So it's a fun time to be alive. We're going to get like 8 of them next year. Can't wait.
You know, it's funny because we talk about this every once in a while, but we went through so many years where like we would scrimp to come up with a couple of names of good comic book movies. You know, the first X-Men came out. Oh, we got a good one. Then X-Men 2, the first Spider-Man, right? But now we live in an age where we've had Avengers, The Dark Knight, Batman Begins, Spider-Man 2.
Standalones for Thor, Captain America, the Hulk.
Captain America, Winter Soldier, you know, which is amazing. X-Men, Days of Future Past. I mean, we've just had so many now. Like, you could probably name 10 excellent comic book movies off the top of your head because that's the era we live in now. And 2016 hopefully will bring us a couple more.
Hey guys, if you like this clip, click here to watch the entire episode. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel because it'll help you stay up to date with all the stuff we've got going on here at Collider.